What's good? What's good? Welcome to another episode of the Men Like Us podcast. And yeah, it's going to be another heater. So for those of y'all listening on the audio podcast channels, you know what it is already. Y'all got to give me some time to share the stream because that's what it is all about. You know what? I'm gonna get outside of my comfort zone and share this to some other groups I normally don't share it to. So yeah, let me get this on out there to some other spaces. I'm rocking with my yellow Red Bull today in lieu of a coffee machine. You know, normally it's for people who watch the show, watch it. You'll see me sipping on coffee from time to time. You know, it's because I ain't no spring chicken. And you know, I need that caffeine. So I am not a caffeine addict, but I do get into it, especially when I do the streams here. So we don't do this too often. So just give me a little bit. I gotta germinate this thing on out. And yeah, if you read the description, the title of the stream, if you're listening to this and you read the title of the episode, you know it's gonna be some fire today. Because you know, academia is fucking up in a sense. So I'm putting this in all kinds of groups. I'm not even putting this in my normal my normal trans groups that I share this show to. So yeah, I'm not even putting it in the groups I normally share it to. So if y'all give me a little bit longer, just want to get it in a couple more places. Because it's kind of whack what has been put out there, and this is just the latest shot fired in a sense against men who are attracted to trans women. So you know. All right. So I think I've germinated this quite enough. Yeah, no, we're streaming on YouTube. Should be. Let me double check. Should be going to YouTube as well, though. I know somebody just asked me that question, so give me a second to verify. Here we go. Let me verify. Make sure we is streaming. Yep, we is streaming to the YouTube. All right. So, Robert, what's going on, bro? Long time no talk, man. Hope everything's going all right with you out there, brother. Robert, we gonna get to your comment first, man. But you know, I guess the formal introduction is here now. So yeah, welcome to the Men Like Us podcast, a podcast for men by men, a piece of media that is aimed at men who are attracted to trans women. You know, the aim of this show is to help destigmatize relations with trans women, especially in relation to cisgender men dating trans women, and also to help encourage other men out there who may feel alone, who may feel weird, who just need some support, or who just needs, needs conversation to help spur them along in their, personal journey, dealing with themselves and coming to terms with who they are, and, I guess reconciling their masculinity with their sexuality. So it's a lot of good stuff that can come out the show. But today we are talking about some different we're gonna talk about some different stuff today because yet again somebody has put out a studies a report. A study has been published speaking about men who are attracted to transgender women, and this time the headline of the study. Now I want to make sure I get this right. So I don't want to, just quote the man's study here. So the headline of the published report is Transamorous Misogyny, Masculinity, Heterosexuality, and Cis Men's Sexiest Desires for Trans Women. And the headline that was published on the University of California-Riverside's website: study examines straight men and their sexual attraction to transgender women. An analysis of online Reddit conversations also revealed the paradox: the same men devalue both trans and cisgender women. So yes, this is a study by the University of California-Riverside, and to talk with me and rap with me about this study and what's in it is my main man Colin from up north. What's going on, Colin?
Evening, Chris.
Good evening. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday, as always.
Man, so I just want to get right into it, bro. I wanna paint the scene. Well, that might not be a good term for this show. But set the tone and get the proper background so people know exactly what the hell we're talking about. And let me see, let me turn on my thing. So yes, professor from the university, Brandon A. Robinson, an associate professor from the University of California-Riverside, published a study, a report, an article, research article, speaking about coining the term transamorous misogyny. In his study, he asserts that men essentially he's asserting that all men who are attracted to trans women hate cisgender women, and they're all misogynists. That's the study in a nutshell. He says a lot of inflammatory things on there, and misogyny is the theme. He said the article says Robinson found a common theme among men on Reddit who are attracted to transgender women: misogyny. Now, the fact, let's talk about the methodology of this study.
Yeah.
That's really what the issue is for me, is the fact that this college professor, somebody who actually gets paid tuition money to teach about gender studies, decided to go to Reddit for their research material. This man,
that's problematic in and of itself.
Absolutely problematic. It is the most ridiculous thing in the world that he went to Reddit. I understand populations of men who are attracted to trans women. It's a very elusive population that's even more elusive than the transgender population itself, or at least it can be. But yeah, no, that doesn't mean we go to Reddit for our fucking answers on what these men on who these men are and what they're thinking and what their motivations are. That's absolutely fucking stupid. And really, my main man Robert joined on, and he was not pleased with it either. He says, I'm so tired of people who aren't transamorous men trying to define transamorous men. People just need to accept that the same men that are attracted to cis women are attracted to trans women.
And he really hit the nail on the head on that one.
Absolutely. But this report asserts that the men that are attracted to trans women are frustrated with cisgender women, have difficulties establishing relationships with cisgender women. I mean, he's legit like putting us all in a ball of just like losers who can't really compete out in the world of cis women. And now we're over here to, bend trans women to our will and force them to be hyper feminine for us and all this other bullshit. It's really fucking whack as hell. But, it's just, if you're going to do a study about men and you want to understand who and what they are and what their motivations are, Reddit is not where you go.
No, it's not. Well, I mean, it's like the early days of the internet, like when you went to 4chan for something.
Oh God, 4chan. Oh.
Right. Remember those days?
My buddy who was trying to dude, you gotta get on 4chan. You gotta get on. It's so fucking crazy on there, bro. I'm like, dude, no.
No, I don't want to. I don't have to, particularly not to define myself. And that's kind of what it seems like this individual is going for now. I'm not going to go with like the he him pronoun because again, like based off of the article that you and I both read, it's a they them identification, which I will respect. What I don't respect though is the source material whatsoever, because you're going to a place that is so flooded with people who essentially don't know what the fuck they're talking about.
Now, mind you, he found some inflammatory comments on Reddit, obviously.
Of course, it's fucking Reddit.
Oh, yeah. And I'm just read off a couple comments for you guys because it is
please do
absolutely fucking bizarre. So one commenter that he, calls out in his report says trans women are more submissive than cis women. And connecting with essentially that I'm sorry. Wow. So the person says trans women are more submissive than cis women. And the person further asserts that connecting with a trans woman means having a relationship with all the female courtship rituals and complications.
Yeah, I remember reading that one as well.
Like, really? So it's essentially his whole premise is that men who are attracted to trans women are forcing trans women to fit into these boxes for femininity and womanhood, and we're the problem. We're the ones doing that shit, and forcing trans women to be hyper feminine and all of this shit, which is complete fucking bullshit. But I mean, I understand, and I'm starting to get a little racial here, but I understand a white boy who's teaching out there in California might think that, but has no idea what the fuck ballroom culture is and how that shit was happening before without men, period. Girls pushing other girls to be hyper feminine, have that look, meet a standard, all that shit ain't got nothing to do with us.
No, it doesn't. At all. That's like a social hierarchy outside of us.
Yes, absolutely. That's an intra community issue. But also, I want to point out the subreddit channels that he examined while
doing the article,
while doing his quote research.
Yeah,
absolutely ridiculous. Okay, so he downloaded data from 200 posts and 200 Reddit posts in their threads. That's where he got all of his information from, gleaned all of his insights from. The subreddits that he explored were Ask Transgender, which, if you don't know, Ask Transgender is a subreddit where obviously people just ask transgender women anything. And I promise you, that is not a safe haven for men who are attracted to trans women at all.
No, not at all.
In fact, let me pull up, because somebody posted about my show, about this show on that subreddit.
Oh, I would love to hear that.
All right. So this guy said, hey, so I came across this Men Like Us podcast. I've been listening to it lately. Really enjoyed having a podcast that spoke to me and other men who aren't secretive about dating transgender women. It seems really niche, but wanted to know, how does the community feel about podcasts for guys? Is this supported, or is this stuff generally frowned upon? The first comment is, a chaser podcast? Excuse me? The next comment starts out, I'm not going to read the full fucking comment because people are assholes.
Preface it.
But the second comment starts out with, anyone claiming to be trans attracted is a massive red flag and is likely a person to be avoided. Guys just really make a podcast about anything, huh? Like it goes on and on, but either way, this is not where you're going to find great discussion and insights on men who are attracted to trans women, because they're not welcome on that subreddit.
Which is weird, because is that not a subreddit for guys attracted to trans women?
No. It's a subreddit for people to ask the trans community anything, and then also other people who are in the community to ask trans people anything. Okay, so there are people who are trans asking questions, asking for advice, and there are other people from the outside saying, hey, why do y'all do this, or whatever they want to ask. Yeah. And they'll get the answers they fucking get. But that's the first one listed, ask transgender. The next one, trans personals. Obviously, a subreddit that is for prostitution and porn, or porn, which is the preview videos that girls put up on social media stuff. Prostitution. Okay, sure. I guess you're gonna get honest, real conversation from real people there. Maybe, I don't know. The next one is T for M and M for T. Those are plays off of what Craigslist used to be. Essentially, people looking to hook up for excursions. And then the next one is Chasers Rise Up. Chasers Rise Up is a satirical subreddit.
At least it's satirical. Thank God for that. Like,
Chasers Rise Up is essentially it's chaser shit posting. So it's a subreddit where all they do is just post stuff and make fun of, quote, chasers. So I don't know what are you looking for there that's going to be actually, that's going to actually get you insights into what trans attracted, transamorous men really are and what they think. And then the last one is transamorous, which doesn't exist anymore. That one's been shut down for a while. So I mean, I can't tell you about that one completely, but transamorous is dead. When I first came back to Reddit, it was like, it had like the last post had been like a year ago. And look, I'm gonna just be real. Reddit is not a platform that is friendly to trans attracted men, transamorous, anything like that. You talk about it, you do anything like or try to start a conversation about it or build a community around it, you will be shut down. Now, and I'm telling you this because I made a new Reddit account when I came back on the Reddit. Like, I made a fresh account, was shut down in 24 hours. Within 24 hours, I got banned. And, because the very notion of being trans attracted, all this stuff, it offends people. And actually, I got kicked off. That counted as hate speech. So it got reported as that and just gone. Now, I already have a Reddit account that's been active for the last 5 years. So what? People make burner accounts on that site all the time anyways. But either way, all of these subreddits that I just listed are not good places to find thoughts and opinions from men who are interested in dating trans women, being with them, looking for anything healthy. It's all the fucking, guys that are just ogling over and sexualizing women on the internet. And I have to be honest, Reddit's not the platform for that. Reddit is where you're going to get, I mean, if you're looking on Reddit, you might as well look on fucking Pornhub. Like, and that's the stupidity of going to Reddit for the study that you assert all men who are trans attracted, transamorous are misogynists. Reddit is not the platform for that. That's like going to Pornhub and using the comments from Pornhub to gain an understanding as to why cisgender men are attracted to cis women. Like, it's absolutely ridiculous. What level of understanding do you really hope to get from that? It's just dumb as hell. Doesn't make any sense. Oh, wait, we lost you, man. We lost your volume. Trying to speak again. I'm sorry, I didn't know if you were trying to. I was looking at another tab, so I didn't even see if you were trying to talk. No, we can't hear you, man. So, gotcha. But yeah, it's just absolutely ridiculous. And, look, oh, I can hear you now. We can hear you now. No, he's probably trying to figure something out. Anyways, just absolutely ridiculous, guys. I'm sorry, I'm not doing the best at explaining this entire fucking article, but look it up. The headline of the article is "Study Examines Straight Men and Their Sexual Attraction to Transgender Women," and it is the stupidest thing in the world. It just doesn't make any sense. And he's trying to get, I don't know, hype credit off of coining the term transamorous misogyny. Like, what the fuck? Like, I mean, I'm at this point, like, what was even the point of, what was the purpose of this shit?
Chris, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, yeah. Perfect. All right, we're back.
Like, the purpose is, like, this whole study, doesn't.
There's no point or purpose to it.
Well, it just doesn't do the work to. It doesn't do the real work to try and understand us as a group of individuals, as a community. It doesn't do the work to understand any of that. What it does is highlights that objectifying trans women is a societal issue, and that men who are attracted to trans women are, like, we're essentially the problem. And it says that we want to control women's behavior, and we hate women, and we're trying to uphold men as the dominant one. Look here, the girls could tell you, buddy boy, that is not the case, because a lot of these girls be topping the fuck out of these dudes behind closed doors. These men,
there you go.
A lot of these dudes don't be coming to these girls for that. I'm not saying that's everybody, but it's more than you would think. That's all I can say.
And the thing is, too, like, with that is based off of the article that we're going over. I mean, like, okay, so now you're putting more pressure on trans women to be hyper feminine, because otherwise there's going to be no interest whatsoever, which is not the actual case. I mean, like, if you're going to look at, you're looking at trans women, they're women.
Yeah.
That's it. Okay, there's certain femininity to the. I hate to say this, and I apologize to anybody that I offend whatsoever, but, like, you look at women, there's a certain amount of femininity, right? Whatever degree that is. Trans women don't need to be hyper feminine to attract men that are attracted to trans women. And that is part of what I got from that study as well, or again, study, because it now puts pressure on them to potentially not be who they naturally are. Because, like, let's say you're a trans woman and you are not hyper feminine. Now what? All of a sudden you have to be that to attract a male partner? No, you don't. At all, because there are plenty of guys out there who are trans attracted who don't need their potential trans partner to be incredibly feminine, just be who they are. And that should be enough. right? And if it's not, then move on, find somebody the fuck else. Like, there's always going to be somebody else out there, right? But like, it puts this like this weird, unrealistic expectation, and problematic kind of concept in my mind, at least, where it's like, so if you're not hyper feminine, then you're not gonna find somebody.
I don't know.
Like it's fucking weird, man. And again, like you and I read the article, it's from somebody who doesn't understand being trans attracted, clearly.
Yes.
Right? Like regardless of personal pronouns and whatnot, which they go by, which is something outside of this conversation, which there's no issue with that whatsoever. But if you don't have the experience and you don't really have the knowledge or the education, don't fucking write about it, and certainly don't pull your shit from fucking Reddit. My God,
idiot. And I'm also going to throw this out there and say what y'all want about this, but I'm just here to keep it real as I can keep it. And I am absolutely over. I'm sorry, but this particular man made no effort to actually understand men who are attracted to trans women, and I understand the shitbag nature of this individual. Like, I'm sorry, but in general, I have not had the best experience with gay men giving due respect to cisgender heterosexual men who are attracted to trans women. And it all reeks of a narrative. He's forming a narrative that, well, these guys are gross and they're the problem. They're the reason why women are trying to live up to these hyper feminine standards and all this other shit. And it's just like, dude, if you actually respected, if you were actually a real researcher and you came and you took out your own personal bias in this situation, that cisgender heterosexual men are the bad guys again, evil. Like, if you just took out your fucking bias from this and actually tried to find people, we're out there. It doesn't take that much to find me, anybody on my show. There are plenty of guys. You didn't talk to one person. You wrote a whole fucking study and you didn't talk to one guy. You took comments from Reddit. No, sir. No. That's a hack job, buddy. That is a hack job, and you should be ashamed of yourself.
Well, that's the thing. Like go out and actually, and again, this is outside me because, as I've said many times on this show, like, yes, I'm a cis male, but I'm not straight, or I'm not heterosexual. I'm queer. But go out and talk to the cis hetero males within this community who openly and actively date trans women. Your opinion and your article would be vastly different, hopefully, than what it actually was.
Mind you, this particular associate professor is coming out with a book.
Oh yeah, of course.
Coming out with a book about trans women and their dating life and all that kind of shit too. So I can only assume that this poorly done research is going to be and if any of you guys are looking for it, especially the guys who are in the group, I posted the link to this inside the men's only group. If you want to find the link to this, but let me share the screen so y'all can find it in a second. I'll share this.
But like if they actually wanted actual first person experiences,
here it is. University of Riverside, California-Riverside.
Like, to be perfectly honest, why not reach out to a group like this that has a vast majority of hetero cis males who are attracted to trans women? Like, why not reach out to that community in and of itself?
You don't care to, because if he did, then
it would be very different and very positive.
Absolutely. But if he did, he might find something that runs against his narrative that is going to work with and jive with his book. He's got a book to put out chronicling the romantic endeavors of trans women, I'm sure they're all going to be nothing but bad stories. He's not going to talk to any girls that's actually married, been in
Oh,
relationships
definitely
for a
not.
minute, have vast amounts of relationship experience. It's all going to be about the chasers did this to me, the chaser did that to me, because
Yep.
you know it's for those of y'all that know there's a cultural difference here, because you know, like the on the white side again, they don't call the guys Trey, they just call them straight up just chasers. So you know, the chaser did this to me, and the chaser did, he was gross, he was whatever, and it's just like it's just gonna be nothing but that. It's not gonna get to the heart of anything real. Nobody's gonna learn anything new from it. And I
No, not
mean,
at all.
this study just reaffirms like the worst stereotypes there are out there about men who are attracted to trans women. Robert, I have not reached out to this individual. I absolutely can do that. That is a possibility. But, you know, at this point, I had to get this stream out because I got to talk about it. It's on my heart. We got to have some conversation about it. So,
My God, if you do reach out and they respond to get on, I would love to be on for that one. My God,
it would be one hell of a stream.
it
And
would be
it would be
it would
one hell of
be
a stream. That's all I can
yeah.
say. But it's
We
just when you're
would
putting out shit reports, man, and you're just trying to reaffirm all these fucking biases and bullshit. Like, what
yep.
the fuck? I mean, just do some research, talk to some men, learn some shit, and share that new knowledge with people who ain't never heard about that shit.
Yeah,
Never heard
well, and
about it.
the thing is that you'll learn is, I mean, like it's just you're just talking to people who are just in a loving relationship,
Yes, or
right?
people just
Like,
with experience. Like we all
yeah,
bring our lived experience matters, and our lived experience is valid. Like it isn't something that's irrelevant that should be skipped over. Oh, that's just who cares? I
right,
get it.
like,
There's a lot of shitbag guys out there, but there's a lot of guys that aren't.
yeah,
I'm
and
not
that's
saying
where you
the
get
majority
like,
of
I mean,
guys
like,
aren't shitbags. There, majority of guys are shitbags out there, but it's my belief the majority of the women are shitbags too. So
well, there
you
you
know,
go, right?
I
But I
mean,
mean,
you
like
gotta
that, then
both
you get
people are
into,
shitbags.
but then you get into like relationships and situations like for example, and I'm totally gonna call you on this one, like with
Mm-hmm.
yourself, where it's like, oh, how's your relationship? It's great. It's normal. It's like not boring, but it's boring because like it's just you're just in a relationship as like,
Absolutely.
and there's nothing problematic there because it's just the two of you,
Yep.
right? Like
It's very normal,
very
boring normal.
right. Like, and again, like excuse the terminology of like boring normal, but
Mm-hmm.
it's a relationship. So you do the day to day. You do like I mean, you travel, you see places, you spend time together.
Yep.
There's nothing
I see.
inordinary about it.
So in his report, he's essentially taking all of these Reddit comments and then wrapping larger concepts around them, like, and I just have to. So essentially, for example, he's like, "Oh well, comparing trans to cis women," and this person said, "It's the same reason." Oh wow. He's like, you are more feminine than girls, hotter, often wear so much more sexy, better sex, more kinky. Trans girl, I can fuck few times in a row. I love to fuck asses, and 70% of girls don't like it. I don't
Uh,
really know why, but I get much faster horny with beautiful trans girls than with girl. Like, I mean, come on, man. What the
where's
fuck?
that comment from?
This is a Reddit comment. This is a Reddit
Yeah.
comment. Like, you can't
Okay.
make this shit up.
So you're gonna like base potentially base part of your study off of something like that.
Yes. So his
Like,
comment is his insights from this are okay. Well, both posters are mentioning boredom, and they're constructing trans women as sexual objects to sexually entertain cis men, and you're hypersexualizing trans women, and that's nothing new. And I'm just like, dude, whatever, dude. Whatever, man. This is the fucking worst. Why are you taking this shit seriously? It's Reddit.
Yeah.
These are, and well, really quickly, the thing is, comments on Reddit, not just Reddit, the comments on X Hamster, the comments on Pornhub, the comments on
I can't even imagine.
X videos, all these comments, it's all fantasy talk. This shit ain't real life. These dudes ain't actively out in the streets looking for the girls. These are dudes on the internet, you know, ogling over this sexual fantasy that they have built up in their head. They have, I promise you, it's very likely little of these men have actual like real world experience with trans women, because let's be real, there ain't too many of them out there in the first place. But a lot of these dudes are too chicken shit to actually get off their computer and go and find a girl and experience some shit. They're afraid of their own shadows. Like they're super undercover secret DL, mega DL. Like this shit ain't real. They have an attraction to trans women, yes, but they're none of this screams self-realized man who is actually, you know, interested in doing this shit in real life. That's what I'm saying. It's a fantasy. It's a game. It's not real. And I only say that because I was there once upon a time. I may not have been that grotesque, but I was definitely one of those guys who viewed trans women on the internet, you know, and I might have jerked off, watched some trans porn, and then I went right back to my life where nobody knew about it. I kept it a secret, and I was planning to take it to the grave. My girlfriends, cisgender girlfriends that I had no idea that I was attracted to trans women. I had no in-person, real-life interaction with trans women at all. That wasn't even close to my world. It was just an internet thing. That wasn't real life for me. And I'm saying it's very likely it ain't real life for those guys either.
Oh, definitely not.
Draw inferences is ridiculous.
And so the thing, Chris, that I actually want to play off of what you just said was, okay, so with the fantasy, right? Now, okay, so if we bring it back for a couple seconds here, or a minute, depending on how far off I go, as I do, right? Cis hetero men dating trans women, it's, in my mind, it's normal. It's a normal thing. You're in a relationship. Relationships are normal. Thus, you are normal. Let's keep it there and keep it just as normal. If you want to kind of go off with it a little bit with, you know, like a splash of the like of my community, then you do. Great. But you are just in a relationship, the two of you, that to me is normalcy. When it comes to what you were saying about the whole like, oh shit, I lost my fucking point. Oh god, my ADHD kicked in for a second there. So have you ever seen a movie called High Fidelity with John Cusack?
No, I have not.
Okay, so it's a romantic comedy from a male's perspective. And it's talking about normalcy. I will figure this out. I'm going to leave that there, and then I'm going to come back to it in about 45 minutes once it kicks back in. And then we'll go from there once you've forgotten about the fact that I brought this up. Anyways, back to you.
Well, look, I just want to circle back to the main concept of this article, this I don't know, a trend-setting concept that he feels like he's developing in some sort of bubble of reality. He calls it transamorous misogyny. Where now I'm just going to read his words. So it's the paradoxical processes whereby certain cis men's desires for trans women work in and through their contempt and policing behaviors of all women. That's essentially what it was. I don't need to drum up the rest of this stuff, but essentially men are attracted to trans women because they feel the need to control all women, first off, men who are attracted to trans women have contempt for all women. And then I guess we feel the need to control all women, which is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. I can promise you, you ask my girlfriend, does he control you? No.
I was gonna say, so when was the last time that
Absolutely not.
you told your partner, no, you can't go to work today? And she was like, okay.
Man, I'm just trying to win on what Netflix shows we watch, bro. Like
Right?
I can't win
Right?
on nothing.
Exactly. Like, so it's, but like I do feel like that article is geared towards making trans women who, at least in my personal experience in the past,
Mhm.
um, already feel the need to overcompensate with femininity because
Yes.
they are trans.
Mhm.
This is just like pushing that issue further because
Mhm.
you have to be hyper feminine to make up for the fact that you are trans when that is not the fucking case
No,
at all,
absolutely not.
right? Like,
Absolutely not. And really, if this dude knew anything about community, I guess in the way that I do, I mean, you would know that the pressure to measure up does not come from the men.
no, not at
That
all.
comes from within the community. It
Oh
is
my
not
god,
men
the
saying,
yeah,
bro, you
yeah.
need to get your breasts done. You need to get your ass done. When is that FFS going to kick in? Because you're looking mighty hard. You're looking bricky. It's giving brick. It's doing, men ain't doing that shit.
Yeah. Well,
We
and
ain't doing that.
the other thing too with that, and I mean, like I've seen it firsthand again, like being with trans women in the past and everything, and like even just being queer myself is like
Mhm.
I go down to the village in my city, um, and the trans community doesn't go down to the fucking village, which kills me in and of itself. But they don't go down there because they get persecuted against with their own community for not being feminine enough or being
Mhm.
like or being too feminine like it's like they can't win no matter what they try as an individual or as
Mhm.
a community, which is really unfortunate. Like, and then for people, like hetero males like yourself, or even like
Mhm.
queer males like myself who openly date trans women, like, or again, like for myself, like trans men, trans women, um, you get that extra persecution because now you're dating the thing that is persecuted within the community,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? Like it's a really weird and fucked up thing that really shouldn't happen, but it's unfortunate
Mhm.
that it does, and it's a reality. And I would love to see that change, but I mean, fuck, like it, it just kind of is what it is. And again, like as the guy on the other end of it, it's like, all right, well, fuck, like let's just have a conversation about it because there's sweet fuck all that we can do to actually make a difference whatsoever aside from be there for the people that we are with or that we have been with or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, I mean, at that point, that's all you really can do is just be there for support. But I just think that um, this professor, this associate professor, in this report study, or I guess a study as the university's news website calls it, this study by Brandon A. Robinson, um, it crafts a pretty, he does a solid job of crafting a narrative from the worst comments posted on Reddit. You cherry pick
God.
comments. You got 10,000 comments to work with. You pick the worst ones to that back up your claims, and then you just move ahead with your assertions.
Yeah.
And that's the thing about this is all opinion based. This is all opinion based. It's all opinion based on his own biases. Everything else, he's not trying to understand nothing. It's all reaffirming things. And when you look and when you read that study, he will post. I mean, in the actual report, not the article, but in the actual report that got published in and where does it get published at? Let's see here. It Sage Journals was actually a published report. You know, he puts two Reddit comments to say, see, so you see what these guys are doing. That means they both hate trans women. They're comparing trans and cis women, and they're doing this and they're doing that. And yep, see these two comments. See these men who like trans women, they have a contempt for it. They're trying to control their femininity and this, and this. And see these two comments let you know that they have a real problem with women, and that it just is two comments. Opinion, two comments, opinion. But the article posted on the university website says study. Like this was some scientific shit that had all the bias drained out of it, which it didn't. It just didn't. Now, if they said 51% of men that we surveyed said that they like trans women for this reason, or that they've never had experience, or that they want to, or this is how they started, and if they was coming with cold, hard numbers, fine, I guess so. But you still got to fix the problem where you got the information from, which is Reddit, and that's not credible at all.
No, it's really not
close. Not even close. I get it.
And that's the thing, like,
issue, but come on, man.
And that's the thing, like the people who reference Reddit as their source code or like source reference, come the fuck on. Like, that's like being like, oh, I'm gonna source YouTube as my reference for the reason that I think the Earth is flat. And I'm sorry if there are flat earthers that watch us right now, but like, fuck off with that and fuck off with YouTube as your reference source. Like, come on. But it's the same thing, right? It's just as absurd. Why the hell would you source Reddit out of all places? Like, fucking, I would believe your Pornhub source more than I would believe your Reddit source.
Well, you know,
I mean, I don't want to know your Pornhub source, but like, but I would believe that more because, like, my fuck.
Well, I think the community that he's, writing for and looking to get to buy this book and representing this book that he's coming out with, I don't think the trans community in general would appreciate Reddit being used as a source to analyze their community.
And I agree. And the thing is, too, is that this is not a trans author.
No.
So, like, that would be like me or you writing
a book about the girls,
right? Like,
what? Why? Since when we have the ability to do that, we don't.
Exactly.
We don't.
I could write a book about being a fucking a parent or like a fucking bricklayer. You could write a book about being an office worker. Sure. But something that you know absolutely nothing about from a first person perspective, and you expect your research to be spot on. I'm sorry. Fuck you and fuck off.
And I apologize. I've been using the wrong pronouns. Brandon A. Robinson goes by they and them. But, really, the gender non-conforming community is even smaller than the trans community itself. And I get that people say it's under the umbrella. Okay, well, let's just separate the umbrella from what's under it for a second. And people who identify strictly as transgender and people who identify as non-binary, they are much smaller than transgender, which is why that's why they're getting underneath the umbrella, because they need the protection of this larger group. But it's like, dude, really, I just don't understand writing or putting out research about another group and then not really interfacing or even doing the work to find that other group. Like, come on, man.
Well, that's the thing. Like,
and trans attracted men deserve better.
Yeah, and if you're doing research in the sense of, hey, this is what I found out from this person, so I spoke to a trans attracted man. I spoke to a
Mhm.
queer person. Like I spoke to a trans woman who is dating a hetero male. This is what my findings were. Here is the script. That's different than I'm going to write this book about something that I know nothing about. Again,
Absolutely
fuck
not.
off.
Like this is, and I understand. I understand. Oh, first off, I don't want to. I don't want people to walk away with the idea that we are saying that you have to be trans attracted or
No.
transamorous to do this study and put this out. But what I am saying is you need to do the work to understand our unique lived experience, the lived experiences of men who are trans attracted, transamorous, all that stuff. You have to get the full picture. So, not doing the work to get the full picture, you know, that tells me something about what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
And I get it. You wanna cape for your sisters, your trans sisters, whatever else, and you wanna fuck them men and whatever. Oh, fine. If that's what you want to do. That's what you're gonna do. And it shows. It shows that there's an agenda. It shows that there's a narrative that you need to submit with this, flimsy research. And I just don't. It just sucks that this is the crap that's getting published, and these are the things that are being put out there about a community of men that people are not listening to, don't want to put in the work to learn, and it's just all around demonized. Now, I'm not saying every man out there is a good person and they're all good. Like I said earlier in the show, most men out there are pieces of shit. Just like a lot of the girls in the community are pieces of shit too. So a lot of people who are pieces of shit who don't mean good for nobody else. And, that's just what it is. They're
Yeah.
not the best representation of their entire group. They are not a credit to their group at all. That's just the way it is. And in all of manhood, mandom, there's a lot of shitbag guys out there who
Oh, of course there is.
who over sexualize women, objectify women, don't see them as and give women the credit that they deserve. Who don't want to see women rise up in the ranks corporately or see women do anything, equal. Like you got a lot of idiots out there. Women need to be back in the kitchen and whatever else. Not that there's a lot of people doing it, but I know there's idiots doing that shit, saying that shit on the internet. So, like, I get it. There are dumbasses out there, but it's just like you're taking the worst examples of a group of people and then plastering that up there as like that's what it is. And kind of takes me back to that documentary Disclosure, where it's like every single time a trans person was on a TV show, it was a dead trans hooker. And that's all the fucking parts they ever got for a couple decades. Dead trans hooker 3, dead trans hooker 4, dead trans hooker. Like that's the only narrative that involved a trans woman in a lot of these in television for decades. And it's just like, when are we gonna? I'm glad that eventually they evolved that, but that's where we're at right. Chaser number 1, chaser number 2. These guys are only this, and there's no other dimensions or anything to this group of men because they're all just the worst. And case closed. Fuck men. We're on to the next. Like, come on.
Oh, we're terrible. We're horrible.
I'm not saying we the best. I'm not saying I'm the best.
We're also not the worst though, and that's the thing.
Exactly.
Right? Like
we're human.
it just we. There you go. See, that hits the nail right on the head, Chris. Like we are human, and there's nothing wrong with who we are. And anybody who has an issue with that, well, that issue is with them, not with us.
Yep.
Because like again, so many guys that have been speakers on here, again, like are a little bit different than I am. And again, just because referencing the fact that I'm queer as opposed to hetero. But every single guy that has been on this podcast has been absolutely amazing. And those are the hetero guys that you as a trans woman should go for and should seek out. The guys that are like, hey, you're this, okay, well, I'm this, fuck it, let's just do this together, enjoy it openly. Like,
Would be nice. And
and there are so many guys part of the like our group
mhm.
that are just waiting for that.
Thank you, Janina. Yes, we are decent. We're decent.
Yeah. So Janina, I saw your comment as well earlier on about let me just scroll down for a second here about the fact that we all get the hyper femininity was spot on. Thank you for that as well.
And Tracy said, I also think we need to be careful with this current use of misogynist. Robert, Brother Eskridge says, he wrote it with preconceived narrative, though. He didn't want to do the work. He wanted something to support his agenda. And Tracy made another really good point that really is, gets to the heart of the issue. She says there's a chasm between men and women, especially among we Black folks. But using the word misogynist as a missile blows the chasm even wider. And I think that's something that, like, there is that chasm, and you're just making sure that chasm stays as big as it is, or even blow it up even more. But like this stuff like this, trash research, trash studies like this don't help anything. It doesn't help to bring anybody together. It helps to maintain the norm, which is an adversarial relationship between men and women, especially trans women and cis men. It's that, like, it's maintaining the order that has been around for decades at this point, which doesn't help anything, because I believe that men and women are needed. We got to start working together to to erase the stigma around romantic relationships with trans women, and as men we need to be speaking out and kind of being a representative in a sense, to let everybody else around us know that, hey, like, no, these are dope people and you shouldn't shit on them, shouldn't dehuman. These are humans, and they deserve to be here just as much as you. Like,
Absolutely.
just that's part of being an ally in a sense. And hold on a second, let's see. Ooh, sorry, I'm trying to bring up some comments. Tracy says, have I been mad at men? Of course, but I am never, ever, ever going to turn my back on my men. And I fucks with that. Let's see. Janina says, yes, I work at a restaurant in our neighborhood here. The gays don't know what to do with a tomboy trans woman. They definitely try it every chance they get. Not enough performative femininity for them. F them. There you go. Which is,
And like, so
wow.
so Gina, I don't know what city you're in, but it's something in my city as well where I live, where like you can be a trans woman and a tomboy, and then the gay community doesn't really quite know where you fit in. So instead of accepting as part of the community, you get ostracized because you are different from the norm that they are used to, which is insanely unfortunate. Um, like,
Oh, okay.
and like, and Chris, like, it's weird here, and for everybody who's listening, so within Toronto, Ontario, where I am, we've got my community, which is the community, but they're like, it's segregated in this really weird way, and it's like the trans community gets the absolute fucking worst of it, which is absurd because they are just trying to exist the same way that we all are. Yep. Whether you're, an ally, dating somebody within the community, are a part of it, doesn't matter. And I kind of look at the entire thing like, okay, y'all just maybe need to get along because we're supposed to be part of, the community. in a sense, but there's all this infighting here, which just makes it incredibly hard to want to promote. Like it's like every time I come on this podcast, I'm like again like okay, so I come on with you and whoever else is on or happens to be able to come out for the podcast, and I want to advocate so much, and I find that the only community that there's no infighting in is is the guys that come on with all of us, because it's like all right, we're all here, we all share this thing together, and there's no
Yes.
infighting because we're all here to support each other and one another, as opposed to, oh, you're like your sexuality is this, your sexuality is that, blah 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 blah
Mm-hmm.
blah blah blah. And having that kind of like break from all of that and coming here is quite fucking nice, because
Yeah, I
all
mean,
like all we do on your channel is just support each other. Hey, this is what we do, this is why we're
yes.
here, let's just keep promoting this in a positive way.
And that's really that's really what we do in the men's only group. So, for any men watching right now, any men watching, listening, by all means, find us on Facebook. It's called the Men Like Us Tribe. It is a men's only group, safe space, for men to share ideas, ask questions. We have quite engaging conversation, and it's all respectful. We're not going at each other. There, we don't tolerate personal attacks or any of that kind of conflict style. We don't do any of that stuff there. It's all about being supportive of each other. It's a really dope space. But Colin, one thing you brought up, you were talking about the you were talking about the segregation in the LGBT community, and that was something that I found out about when I lived in Atlanta. When I was working for a TV station there, and I had this white gay guy on the team I was working on, and it was right around when Caitlyn Jenner was doing the Caitlyn Jenner thing, and he was so over it. But like the way that he talked about trans people, oh, they just need to fucking they're just gay. Come on, like we know what it is. Like, come on, like this is all bullshit. Like he was very much anti it, and he fired shots whenever the fuck he could, openly. And this is in a setting where, I mean, he's gay. Like there is nobody else to speak up against him because we're all just cis hetero people, and in that setting, the gay guy owns the authority to say whatever the fuck he wants. Nobody can countermand him. So we just stepped
Yep.
the fuck back because don't nobody want to get in trouble at work. We just let it be. But I had no idea that there was that division in the way that people saw that. And, really it's a historical thing. And I want to encourage the listeners who haven't seen this show to check out a show created by FX called Pose. And in Pose, you will see that in real time. It's a period piece. They talk about life in the 80s and early 90s for transgender women in New York. And also, there was a documentary that was just put out called The Stroll. And The Stroll details or chronicles, the historical experience of transgender women in New York City, specifically on The Stroll. So it is about, prostitution and how all that developed. And it's from what I hear, I've heard nothing but good things about it. It's a very educational piece of material. It's on the Max, or what used to be called HBO Max. I would encourage all the guys to check it out. If any of the guys that are listening to this are in the men's only group, the Men Like Us Tribe, please join us this Tuesday. We're having a watch party in the men's group. So we will be watching Well, that ain't gonna work. Anyways, yeah, we're gonna have a watch party on Tuesday at 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern. We are going to have a watch party. We are going to watch The Stroll together as a group, and following the mass viewing of it inside this private men's group, we are going to have some discussion. So please join us on June 26th, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern. This is a private event. This is only in the Men Like Us Tribe Facebook group, but this will be a great opportunity for men to engage each other in conversation, talk about some of the things we learn, and we actually have guys in my group who are old enough to have been around when all of this stuff was happening. Guys in my group have been around New York, trans women, the trans community, been allied with it, dating women in the community since, the 70s, 80s, all that stuff. So, you're going to be lucky enough to hear from men who were actually around when a lot of these events were occurring and can share their own perspectives on it as well. Because a lot of the girls in here, they knew. Sadly, I'm sure since it's going back in time, a lot of these women featured in this may not be alive. But it's going to be a dope experience. Watch party and discussion in the Men Like Us Tribe. Facebook.com, Men Like Us Tribe. You have to apply to join. It is men's only. Sorry, ladies, you cannot be a part of this. This is a private discussion, a private experience for just the guys. And it's going to be some dope conversation. And if the conversation is good enough, we'll see. I might play an excerpt or two on the next show. We'll see. But yes, men's only. But please, please, please join us for that. Oh, man, Janina's 45 minutes into it. And yeah, my main man G Mike says it was a good watch. So we're definitely going to check it out. It is on the Max, which used to be HBO Max. So, and yes, we do have a brotherhood like that for real. And if the University of California-Riverside actually watches this, yes, we have a group full of guys. Maybe got like 160, 170 guys in the group now. And we're going to have some dope conversations. So,
and it keeps growing monthly.
Yeah, it does keep growing slowly but surely, because I have to be honest, not everybody makes the cut. I don't.
Well, of course.
Yeah, there's some. Now that isn't Chris saying you're not cool enough to be in the club, but if your profile is 1 week old, you just joined Facebook a week ago, no, you can't be in. If you have a fake profile picture and it doesn't look like a real person, no, you can't be in. We don't do fake profile pictures. We don't do DL Facebook accounts. This shit has to be really you.
Oh, thank God I'm pretty enough that I got in.
And you can't come in. We're going to bounce you right back out. And then people get upset. They do. Oh, fuck you, this, and this. All right, that's fine. But we're
doesn't matter. This is it's a serious thing. Yes. If it wasn't, then everybody would get in with having a fucking I have a profile. Congratulations, you're part of it. No, absolutely not.
We've had some people try to infiltrate the group, and some of the gay friends try to get in, and it was like, nah, you can't come in either, buddy. Nope. Nah, you can't come in either, because it's a group that we do our best to create an environment to not be infiltrated easily, and what is said in there stays in there, and there needs to be a guarantee of confidentiality. That's what I'm trying to get at.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Also, you got to stop drinking the Red Bulls, man. Your heart's gonna fucking give out on you one day.
Yeah, I love them, man. Now, and that's if you ever go to a nightclub, you'll notice the staff is banging the fuck out of these things. So I actually got onto the yellow. I got onto this when I was working security at a nightclub in Denver. and it'd be like they would charge the staff like $1 or $2 for a can. But I'd start the night out with just taking down one of these.
That's horrifying.
And I'd be ready, ripping and running, man, carrying human bodies out upstairs.
I mean, like, I guess
downstairs.
I can't say fuck all. I'm sitting here fucking drinking beer all night and vaping, but still, those will kill you.
Oh, they will. They can. They definitely can. Luckily, I stream like once a month, so. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so really, that's it, guys. But please, go check out this article. Check it out.
Yeah, it's an entertaining read.
Yes, it is on the University of California-Riverside website, and in there is a link to the actual published paper that this associate professor put out. And yeah, just read it. It's obvious.
Something.
It's obvious how little work was actually put into creating an honest representation of the community of trans attracted men, and that it's just ridiculous. So with that, we are out. Colin, thank you for giving me your time tonight, bro. I really do appreciate it. I know we've been on for a minute. And also follow Men Like Us podcast on TikTok, because I'm going to start going live on TikTok. I have my 1,000 followers, and it's time to roll. So we're going to be going live on TikTok, having some longer, more drawn out conversations. It's not going to be a short button up show, but it is actually a format where I'm allowed to bring people from the comment sections onto the video to actually talk and share their point of view and all of that kind of stuff as well. So yeah. One last comment. So I'm sorry, not sorry. I'm not taking what some non-binary cat has to say, because he thinks being non-binary, he got trans clout and he's some sort of little professor or something. Nope. I mean, I don't know. I just there's something to it. There's something there. And I do not sense that this was done in good faith.
And I agree with you on that one, Chris. Yeah. And Gina as well. I do agree with you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, it's it seems like just another invalidation piece, right?
Mm-hmm.
Of trans women, of men who date trans women, which is really unfortunate. But that's just, in my opinion, at least, and I'm going safe on that one with saying, mm-hmm, in my opinion. But that's what I see it as, is just it's a nonsensical article based off of no actual facts from somebody who has no actual experience within the community, because they identify as a they them versus being trans, or somebody who date trans women, right? And
mm-hmm,
so you can't, like, how can you have, like, it's one of those, like, how can you have an opinion when you don't identify or fall under any of the umbrellas? Just like, how can you have an opinion and not vote? And I don't want to bring up a hot topic with that at all, but to me, it's the same thing, right? Like,
yeah.
So the article is what it is. It's a terrible article and brings up a lot of issues that kind of fall under, like being a trans woman who dates cis hetero males, being a cis hetero male who dates a trans woman. They needed a paycheck.
I mean, the more I find out about this individual, the more I know that this was a bullshit piece of work here. It's just like, oh God.
Yeah.
Dr. Kitty Girl is who we're talking about here. That is Brandon Andrew Robinson's Twitter name, and it's yeah. I mean, it really just screams that like, yo, dude, you got real issues with cis hetero men, and you know, there I think there's a fundamental lack of respect, which you know, I sadly I believe is become more of a societal issue. I think you know,
Oh yeah, definitely so.
it's just easy to take shots at men and like everybody accepts it, nobody challenges it. Yeah, that's right. Those men are bad. They're they're sexist. They are misogynists and they objectify women and they do this and they men, the bad, evil villains. And it's like nobody's like, wait, what do you why are men villains? Like, why would they be that? So I think it's just a casual misandry that's an issue. And I get it. When people hear the word misandry, they're like, red pill, red pill, red pill. But I do think that,
Yep.
you know, there are some people that legit have some serious issues when it comes to men. And
Oh, of
whatever
course.
their issues are, it just doesn't allow them to have a fundamental respect for men in general. And I think that's a travesty because I don't have any problem with women in general. I'm like, I wouldn't understand any man who has a fundamental lack of respect for women. That doesn't even make sense to do that. It's a large group of people. Why would you disrespect the hundreds of millions of women that are living in this country with us or on the planet? Like, why?
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. So I don't know. I just don't get it. But anywho, enough about the woe is me bullshit. I'm just calling it like I see it, y'all. But yeah, we will see y'all on the next episode of the Men Like Us podcast. Appreciate you, Colin, for giving me some of your time tonight, sir.
Yeah, no problem, brother. Anytime.
Yeah, we will see everybody else next stream.